So, what has Donald Trump, the President of the United States, got in common with King Philip IV, King of France, who crushed the Knights Templar? Well, the answer is more than you might think. King Philip of France was somebody who liked to accuse his enemies of absolutely appalling crimes: diabolism, Satanism, heresy, sodomy, you name it. And he didn't even care if his opponents were dead. In the case of Pope Boniface VIII, he tried to have him put on trial in death because inconveniently he'd gone and died and wasn't still alive. But anybody who opposed King Philip found themselves on trial. Does that sound familiar? They were also called all kinds of appalling names. Does that sound familiar? Philip also created a hothouse atmosphere with really violent, ramped up rhetoric. He also set out to massively centralize power in France. That's why he was attacking the Pope. That's why he wanted to take down the Knights Templar. He also liked money an awful lot. He shook down the Jews. He shook down the Lombard merchants. He attempted to ransack the monasteries by taxing them without the Pope's consent. And of course, eventually he shut down the Templars and took their money. But in order to do all of this, he accused his enemies of every imaginable crime. He put all kinds of people on trial, including a group of women called the Beguines, a group of female preachers who he demeaned quite horribly, and he burnt to death the leader of that group, Marguerite Porete. He accused the Bishop of Troyes of killing the Queen. She died in childbirth, actually, but no, the king said she died as a result of witches' potions and spells. Anybody who thought of opposing him, including Pope Clement V, who was the Pope during most of his reign, were basically intimidated into silence. And the king's ministers basically would go out and bully people into submission. One of them even slapped a pope in the face to get him to shut up and not criticize the king anymore. King Philip totally rewrote the political playbook, and in many respects, I think he had a lot in common with President Donald Trump. Now, if you want to know more about King Philip and the things he did, then read my forthcoming book, Downfall of the Templars, out in November 2025.